There you are again in there. I see you. We're back. Can you imagine? We're back again. Thank you all for being here. I'm Lady Lou, the baby boomer babe, and we're here with our daily Reset for Success show. And my guest host over there is Marion LaSalle. Hi, Marion.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to be here. And Beth, it's so wonderful to have you back again. We loved you so much, and you were so popular that we just couldn't get it all in last time. So here you are again, ready to give us more great health information.
Yes, and
Right
that's
when we need it.
yep. Dr. Beth Carpenter, naturopathic doctor, and her list of credentials is about that long. So Beth, we're going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay. I am a traditional naturopath as well as a medical intuitive and a pranic healer, which is a type of energy medicine or energy healing. It's similar to Reiki. It's from the same lineage. And I am a Reiki master, and I find pranic healing far more advanced and can get a lot more accomplished with that. So I'm very much about plant-based medicine too. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wondered if you could explain what the naturopathic doctor means. What does that mean?
Naturopathic doctor means literally we take the natural path to relief. That we believe in doing no harm, and it's through educating people through nutrition, exercise, and that sort of stuff.
Okay, good.
And that means positive attitude too. You gotta have that.
And a lot of people forget that that's part of who we are. We have a body, and we have a mind, and we have a spirit, but we've got emotions that run all of them. And to have the right attitude is the emotional part, because we can be sad, we can be happy, we can be joyful, we can be down in the dumps. So the whole idea is to bring us up, to have joy, have life, have happiness, and we are responsible for that. How do we get that? How do we get that, Beth, if we don't really know how to get it?
Well, it is a daily practice, just like brushing your teeth.
Oh, a daily reset. Did you hear that? Yes, it's a daily reset.
There you go. That's right, from the show. And what I do, because I'm not immune from getting upset either or emotional either. We all are. But when it happens, what I do is I go, okay, this isn't going away. So I need to look at it, right? So I ask myself, first of all, where do I feel it in my body? Is the tension in my solar plexus? Is it in my head? Is it in my leg? Because then that way we know that that physical area is the area that the emotional thought form is tied into.
Oh.
It's really fascinating. So when you look at that and you go, oh, okay. So if it's your leg, you just go, okay, leg, I'm very, very sorry. I'm going to handle this, and we're going to let this go. Even though I don't know where this originated from, it doesn't matter, because for this moment, I'm owning it, right? And so I take responsibility for that thought form, and I just say, I love you very much. I've learned my lesson. It's time for you to go. And I just cut that baby and get rid of it.
You know, I watch a show on television called Dr. Oz, and a lot of times he'll have people on that have survived things that were not survivable. So they'll be dead and they'll come back, or there was just nothing that anybody could do. It was a death sentence, and yet their mind is responsible for keeping them alive, curing them. And no one can figure it out. The science can't even handle, what happened. They can't explain it. And I love how people are really taking responsibility, like you said. So I think, Beth, that we need more people like you to tell us that, because we didn't know that. I mean,
we know it at our core.
I
don't want, absolutely, at the core of who we are. But when we popped out of the womb onto this planet, we didn't have a print and download button for our owner's manual. Okay. Otherwise, we could go, okay, on page 10. Oh, I'm going to be all right. No big deal. All right. But that's why it's a daily reset, is because we get to look at that and we get to choose to keep it or to let it go. And we know the longer we keep it, the more we get tangled and bunched up and irritated, and we can feel our body starting to contort and twist and knot up. Literally.
Yes.
That's right. And the whole thing is taking responsibility for ourselves. We can't fix anybody else. We can't change the world. And we can turn the news off. That's one of my best angles.
Yes.
But
especially now.
Yeah, we have to take this and say, I want to be happy. So what does that look like for me? How do people go about finding what it is, the joy or the emotional thing that they want to uplift them?
So here's a little tricky word game. All right. Every time we say want, it means it's like just out of reach, like you can't grab that carrot.
Oh,
all
hadn't
right.
thought about
so we
that.
Have to pay attention to our language. So if I say I want, I just say, okay, I will be happy. I require myself to be happy. It needs to be an affirmative, almost like action or acceptance that is so, because I know at the core of who I am happy. Do I have an earthly thought bogging me down? Yes. That's what I need to disintegrate, because I don't have to own that for the rest of my life.
You know, I have been known to take a negative emotion or thought or feeling that I'm dealing with. I'll write it down, and then I will fold it up very gently. And then I live in the country, so I can burn outside. Yeah. But you can put it in your barbecue pit outside. Go outside and light that baby up and burn it.
It helps. Because by writing it down, the act of writing it down, you're getting it out of your physical body. You're getting it out of your head onto it. You're concretizing it on a piece of paper that you can burn. So that's a really good way of doing things.
I like it. I like it. Every year at Unity of Houston, we have the Burning Bowl ceremony, and basically they're doing the same thing. They're saying, get it out of your head, put it down on paper, and then let's just burn it. Let's get rid of it, because we can move on to better, happier, more prosperous and healthier opportunities for life. I mean, who doesn't want to be happy? Well,
and if you don't have
the core of who you are, you want to be happy.
That's right. If you don't have a barbecue pit, like you live in an apartment or something, and you can still get outside in the yard of the complex, or even going into a little park. We're still allowed to go to parks here in our area. Take a tiny little spoon or a fork or something with you and dig a hole. Nobody's going to care if you're digging a little hole with a fork, and bury it, and then tamp that dirt down on it. It's gone.
Absolutely.
And we can figure it out.
Yeah, because Mother Earth, by burying it in the dirt, will consume and transmute that thought form. In certain indigenous cultures, if someone had been attacked, and they usually did it like with women, if women were somehow abused in some way, is they would take and they would dig out a hole, like on a beach area where it's sandy, and they wouldn't put they wouldn't bury her head, but they'd cover her with dirt for a certain amount of time and say prayers, so the Mother Earth could consume the pain of the event. I
like that. I do, but we can't do that right now. But we will get back to normal. But that's a great idea.
I hope we get back to a better normal.
I think it's coming. And how would you advise folks on how to reconcile whatever is going on in their world, like maybe their family is all tied up and everybody's fighting because they're so close? How would you suggest that people get through this difficult time?
One, you have to have a whole lot of patience. You know, my husband and I are used to traveling, and I can't say, honey, don't you have to be somewhere? You know? So, but we have to recognize the more uptight we get, and especially right now with this whole coronavirus stuff. And I've been doing some research on a lot of things, not just watching the news where they want to pull you into the emotions. But yes, there is a coronavirus, but really what gets people is pneumonia sets in. That's why the lungs get all the mucus. So it's actually the pneumonia that's killing people, not the coronavirus. Well, when you get uptight and nervous and stressed, you pull in. Those shoulders pull in, you tighten your lungs, you tighten your heart. And so you're naturally going to be susceptible to having congestion there. So open up your chest area. And there's different...
that feels better already.
It does.
Yeah. And you can even, if you have a corner in your house where there's no pictures or anything, it's pretty open, put one hand on one wall and one hand on the other with your nose pointing at the corner, but lean in and it'll pull this open for you. And you can also lay over an exercise ball and to stretch that as well. But practice some deep breathing. The deep breathing alone can be very meditative and help us calm down.
Wow. That's big.
I think
we
that's
got to learn. Yeah, we got to learn.
I think that's why when you are giving birth and, you know, you're in so much pain, everything, they tell you to breathe because it takes the breathing helps you relax, right? I just, for some reason, I went there, you know, you got all tensed up and, oh my God, I'm in so much pain. Oh my God. And
the tighter you clamp up, what happens with the pain?
It gets worse. It stays.
And longer and deeper and everything else. So when we breathe, whoo, it brings it down.
Right.
That's a really good example. Consider we're all in the middle of a birthing process right now.
It's true. You know, I have a few tricks that I've learned over the years about how to do things. Like, it makes me happy if I can smile. And sometimes I just can't muster up a smile, right? It literally makes me feel better when I can even faking it, smiling. And so a friend of mine said, Marian, I know the perfect way to make you smile. I was like, really? Other than tickling me? No, you stick a pencil or pen in your mouth and it forces you to smile. And I swear it works.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't have one handy here, but I can stick my finger in.
It's beautiful. Well, what are some other
good idea?
Yeah. What are some other things that you had thought about to tell our audience today?
Goodness, my primary message is for people to somehow find a place to be calm and relaxed. I would like for everybody during this time to get enough rest. All of us have been stretched in every direction for years, from one baby boomer to another. Okay. And so if we can get better rest, instead of using this as just, oh, I'm going to eat comfort food, choose to eat healthier. Believe it or not, the healthier food is left on the shelves. You know, so if we're getting better rest, if we're eating healthier and spend time exercising. We have time right now to spend 10 minutes twice a day exercising. See what you can do to like get to whatever your buff is.
That's good.
Okay, so I have a question there. The follow-up question on that one.
Yes.
What if you're a self-sabotager and you're deliberately eating sweets and comfort food to make yourself feel better. How do you get around that little guy inside that's like forcing you to eat all that crap?
Well, this is a little trick that I've used.
Oh, goody, a trick. Did you hear that? Listen, everybody.
Oftentimes when we have those saboteurs inside, it's very important that we ask, who does this belong to? We don't even have to wait for an answer. Even if we're like, okay, who does this belong to? And it's not going anywhere. And it's like, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? What we want to do is we want to get the thought form, and we want to unwind it, or we will unwind it. I use the want, but we will unwind it. So it can go back to whence it came. I know it sounds goofy, like it's not going to work, but it does.
Interesting. So you give it a few minutes of quiet time?
You can.
Okay.
You can, but it will absolutely go away, because a lot of what we are has been based on the thought forms from the different events through our life, from childhood, from our parents, from work, marriages, children, TV shows, what's in, what's not. And we collectively, the amount of information we take in is huge.
Yes.
And so a lot has nothing to do with us, but we've taken it on and we've established a habit with it. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of that question, once you can unwind that thought form and, spin it back to where it needs to go, and you don't have to do that because the thought form will go back there, is ask yourself, what is the reward and benefit of self-sabotaging? And people go, oh, there's no logical reason whatsoever. And that is a logical thing, but that's staying in your brain and not dropping down to your heart. So if you drop down into your heart and your heart goes, well, yeah, there's a reward in it, because then I'm given the purple polka dotted cat. I don't care what the answer is or how silly or stupid it is. It doesn't matter. We have made it a reward to stay within that saboteur thought form, period.
Oh. Gosh, I just love you. Can I just come through the
air hug, internet hugs?
Yes, because I've been battling with this, and so I don't mind telling everybody, that's listening to this worldwide, that I've got a lot of great things going on in my life. I'm loved, I'm safe, I'm comfortable, I have a car, I live in the United States. I mean, there's green grass outside. I love life. And yet I have this weird, and I call him a guy, it might not be a guy, but I have this weird guy in me that says, oh, you've got to go get some ice cream. She hurt your feelings. Go get some ice cream. It'll make you feel better. And,
And when you take a bite of ice cream, you're like, yeah, this is it.
this is it. Chocolate, yeah. And I don't, and then I feel bad about it later. I'm like, Marianne, I want to be able to shop in normal stores instead of going to the fat lady store, that kind of stuff. And yet I just really want to be healthy. I'm not trying to get into a bikini. Okay, I just want to be healthy. And I couldn't understand why this force was fighting me so hard. And so thank you for bringing that to us. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Oh, yeah.
Who has a self-saboteur inside.
For sure. Well, that was beautiful, Beth. I loved that.
Now, wait a minute. Before you go on, I know that Lady Lou has another question. She's got a burning question. But I want to give this lady who, it's not me, her name is Lolita, and she's in Facebook, but she hasn't given Facebook permission for us to see her on StreamYard. So I was just wanting everybody that if you're on Facebook, all you have to do is go up to the description, and at the very end, it'll say, give Facebook permission to see who you are. Because she said they did research in England about the pen or pencil in your mouth, and it works.
Yeah.
See?
That's cool. That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thank you, Lolita.
Because doing that, you're going to also unhinge the tension in your jaws if you think about it.
There you go.
That's it. So it's so simple yet so unknown. So we're so tickled that we can help people,
right
and that you're here, because this is your second time around, like Marion said earlier.
It is.
Yeah,
I'm quite grateful. Thank
we
you.
were just so taken with your first show. So go back and find her on YouTube. I forgot what date it was. About 2 weeks ago, wasn't it, Beth? Go back and find it. It'll say Wellness Expo Experience. It'll be a black thumbnail on there, and her little picture and mine and Marion's and another lady, Peggy Sue Skipper. They'll all be on that little meme.
Yes, not only you'll get some great information from Beth, but we put all of her links in that she talked about, and she talked about so many things. That must have taken you a long time to get me all those links. I appreciate that, Beth, because we want to know. We want to know about the herbs, and we want to know about the natural ways to stay healthy.
Yes, and we'll put her description, all of her contact information in the description again this time. But the other one has the goodies in it, so you got to watch that show too. So Beth, what got you into all of this wonderful healing experience that you do?
I was actually exposed to natural eating or healthier eating when in high school, when my mom went on a health food kick. And at that time, obviously, I rebelled, just like the rest of the kids in the house. It's like, what are you doing putting sprouts on our peanut butter sandwiches, But at the age of 23, I was actually diagnosed with 4-stage poorly differentiated small cell lymphoma, and I was told I'd never see 24. And even at one part through that journey, because it was about a 10-year journey going through that cancer experience, they did a scan of my internal organs, and they were actually so many tumors they couldn't count them all. They were in every single internal organ. And there was a couple times where it got a little scary. I thought I might go ahead and croak, but I didn't. I'm here. And it was through that journey that the angels would guide me through my dreams. And, when I was going in, it was probably in the 9th or 10th year of the cancer experience, where I was going in for a bone marrow transplant out at Stanford, because they were using my own marrow, because there's 3 different types of transplants that you can have. And so I went into this dream with the angels, and they're like, I was in school, and they said, your dissertation's about to start. And I'm like, no, I am done with school. I have passed all my classes. No dissertation. All right. I'm not writing my thesis, And so I'm arguing with the angels. But anyhow, I knew that was part of my journey. They reassured me that I was not going to croak. And so, and I use the word croak intentionally because it lightens the atmosphere, as instead of using the death word, And because this physical being is just a vessel for that part of our spirit, so we can deal with the gravity and all of that. And so through that experience, I learned actually quite a bit. And some of it may have been in delusional spaces while hospitalized, but I still learned from it. But I knew when I was done, I had to come and help people, that this was part of my journey, how to balance natural medicine and allopathic medicine, and how to look at those thought forms.
That's beautiful. What a beautiful story. Well, can you give us a real brief overview of how we can talk to our angels or our guides, whatever you call those?
Well, guides and angels are different. I really reach out to my angels, and angels can guide us, but it's different than if a loved one's passed and is helping us, from the other side. That's all. But there's very simple ways to connect with our angels. And if you notice, the majority of the angels, they're the last 2 letters in an angel's name ends in what? E-L. All right.
Right.
And there's some angels that their name does not end in an EL, and they were angels that had taken on human form before becoming an angel. But those that have never taken on the human form, it ends in EL. And in that of electricity, they know that the L is a conductor in electricity. And so you think about that L, the EL, L. All right. So if you take an angel's name, and let's just stick with like, let's do Raphael. Everyone seems to know Raphael. And you break the name down, and it's important to say it like 4 times, and it's Ra, Fa, El, El. And you say the name 4 times. And you'll begin by being focused, and focus above your crown here. Start at the crown before you try to focus higher up. Is you'll all of a sudden feel this presence, or this angelic presence, this higher presence, beings of light, whatever you'd like to say. But you'll feel them around you.
Oh.
Which is a really, really beautiful thing.
You've got us
like that. And this is a fun little story. I'll tell you this. I was on a cruise with a bunch of people from our church, and my husband is an avid swimmer, scuba diver, snorkeler, whatever. And so I was going kayaking on one of the tours with a friend of mine who didn't even swim, and I'm about a foot taller than she is too. So our strokes on the kayak were very different. Okay. And so the tour person, he was saying, whatever you do, don't slow down within this channel, because it was really rocky. And so we were going, and we were kind of going like this, and I didn't want to like fall out of the boat or have her fall out, knowing she didn't swim, even though there's a life vest on. And so I just immediately called on Archangel Zachiel, and he is the head of the Legion of the Violet Flame Angels, that is very much connected to the Holy Spirit. And so I called on Zachiel silently within my head. And then we got to the sandbar, and we pulled the kayak up on the sandbar. And my friend turned to me, because as soon as I called, even before I finished his name, we were in sync and like boom through the channel. And she said, you know what, Beth? I went to put my paddle in the water, and this purple light shot up from the bottom of the ocean. That's how fast Zachiel works. That's how fast any of the angels work. And it's at that instant that we were in sync. So no matter what angel you call on, their response is instantaneous.
Wow. I love that. And I want to make one brief comment, because we're at the end of our show again.
Okay.
I noticed when you were talking about the cancer, you called it the cancer experience. You did not say my cancer experience. And I think that's huge, that people need to know you don't own that experience. So don't go calling it mine, my disease, my illness, my virus, my what. Call it the. And years ago, I learned that because the diabetes that happened in my family, it became into me, but I don't call it mine. I call it the diagnosis of diabetes. Mm-hmm. And that way I don't own it. Because otherwise you're encouraging it, and you're saying, hey, I got it. I don't want it. So call it the illness, the cancer experience, and let that go.
Yes.
We have a question.
Important. Yes.
Sandra says, Beth, are you experienced with theta healing?
I'm very familiar with what theta healing is.
Yes.
I considered doing some training in it. I found that what filled all those gaps that I needed filled was through the pranic healing. So,
do you teach that?
I teach some aspects of it, but I don't teach the classes. A friend of mine teaches in this area, as well as in Dallas and San Antonio and Houston, by the way.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, would you send us that information?
We'd
like to put that in the description, so others who might be interested in learning that too. I would.
Yes. it'll help you understand the whole world a lot better, as well as our body, and helps you get over things like the self-sabotaging too. Yay!
Yeah.
So Sandra says, I believe you have to be certified in order to teach it. So that's
Probably right.
Yeah.
With theta healing as well as
Yes.
pranic healing, and
Yes.
there's different aspects and levels. So, yeah.
So just in case you're listening to this on our podcast, we have a Natural Curiosity podcast. I want you to know that you can reach out to Beth Carpenter, and it's in the description below. Below the, I would say on Facebook and YouTube and the podcast, anywhere that you're reaching out to us on Natural Curiosity, you're going to find Beth, because she is part of the Wellness Expo that's coming into Houston that has been going on for almost 30 years in Dallas, which I think is wonderful. And she's one of the people that has been there almost from the start. She's kind of like me. You just get in and you stick with it because it's so good, right? I love the Wellness Expo and everything that they have to bring to us. Thank you, Beth, so much for being here with us today. I want everyone to know that we're here for you. And if you have any ideas about things that we could, either repeat or bring to you that we haven't already, just let us know. We're friendly. We're happy. We're just we're just so excited to be here. Lady Lou, you want to take us home?
I will do that. Thank you so much, Beth. I mean, we're going to have you back again. This is just too much information for a couple of shows. We got to get you back. And her webs. Oh, thank you too. From Sandra Fry. Thank you. Did you put her email address or her website back up, Marion?
Yes, I did.
For Beth, and I'll read it off.
It's scrolling down below.
Okay. Well, I can't see the little bitty stuff. But why don't you, Beth, go ahead and tell us your contact information for the podcast audience. Your website.
Absolutely. The website is Healthy Help for You. Out for you is the left.
You're cutting out. Is she cutting out, Marion?
Yes, unfortunately, right at the end.
Okay,
so her website is healthyhelpforyou.com, and you can reach her there. Beth Help at iCloud.com.
I don't know where the rest. And my email address is on there if this is still playing, at Beth Help, BETHHELP at iCloud.com. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marion and Lady Lou.
We appreciate you for being back, and thank you to the audience.
Stay here. I don't know if they're trying to come back on or not.
Oh, she can't hear us.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll sign off now. And thank you for being here. We love you all, and come join us again. Bye.
Yes, thank you, ladies. To both.